Hi students, welcome back to Alforce e-learning chemistry classes. This is session 7 and today we will go through the concept that is laws of chemical combination. Under this heading we are going to learn about different laws of chemical combination, how the chemicals are going to react with each other and what are the conditions that we have to follow. All these things we are going to discuss in this particular part of stoichiometry, that is laws of chemical combination. The first one is, write down students, law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass. This was proposed by the scientist Lavoisier, who is called as father of modern chemistry. And what exactly this law is? According to him, matter can neither be created nor destroyed. Matter can neither be created nor destroyed. And application of this law coming to our chemistry is, during a chemical reaction, the total mass of reactants that consumed in the reaction should be exactly equal to the total mass of products obtained in that reaction. We can understand this law by taking one simple example here. H2 plus Cl2 gives rise to 2HCl. Here, by observing this equation, you can write like this: 1 mole H2 combines with 1 mole Cl2 and forming 2 moles of HCl on complete reaction. 1 mole H2 means molar mass, simply you can write 2 grams. 1 mole chlorine means molar mass of chlorine 2 into atomic mass of chlorine 35.5. So you will get it as 71 grams. Similarly, if you calculate here the molar mass of HCl, 1 for hydrogen and 35.5, 36.5, 2 moles are there, 2 into 36.5, so this is 73 grams. Here, if you add these two also, you will get 73 grams. Means the total mass of reactants consumed in the reaction is exactly equal to the total mass of products obtained in that completed reaction. This is the application of law of conservation of mass to the chemical equations. And just like chemical reactions, we are also having nuclear reactions. Both are different. This law of conservation of mass is strictly applicable to only chemical reactions, but not to the nuclear reactions. Because in nuclear reactions, while going on that nuclear reaction, some mass is dissipated in the form of energy. That's why you are not supposed to apply the law of conservation of mass to the nuclear reactions, it should be applicable to chemical reactions. Okay, students? Right. Now you will go for next law, second one. Note down, students. Law of definite proportions. Law of definite proportions, or you can also write as law of constant proportions, and this was given by the scientist Proust. According to this law, a chemical compound, write down, students, a chemical compound always contains the same elements. A chemical compound always contains the same elements, combined together, the same elements combined together in the same proportions by mass, That is the statement of law of definite proportions. Same elements always combined with fixed mass ratio, that is the meaning. Same elements always combined with fixed mass ratio for a compound, for a particular compound. Let me explain what exactly this law is saying to us. That is important. Okay. See here. Suppose if you take a compound, a chemical compound, carbon dioxide, it contains only two elements, carbon and oxygen. Only two elements, carbon and oxygen. It is available in nature, and the atmospheric air will have, on reaction with dilute acids over active metal carbonates like sodium carbonate. Write down, students. Or you can also get by the decomposition of alkaline earth metal carbonates, example calcium carbonate, and heating decomposes to give calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Whatever might be the way of preparation of carbon dioxide, whether it is in the nature or whether it is obtaining in from any chemical reaction, whenever, wherever you observe carbon dioxide, its molar mass is 44 grams, because 12 grams always combined with 2 into 16, 32 grams. Here I am writing 12 grams of carbon always combines with 2 into 16, 32 grams of oxygen always in carbon dioxide. The mass ratio is 12:32. 3 4s are 12, 8 4s are 32. So, in carbon dioxide, the elements carbon and oxygen always combine in the fixed mass ratio, that is 3:8. That ratio should not change at any cost. If that ratio changed, means you may get some other compound formed from the same two elements, carbon and oxygen. But for carbon dioxide, the composition of the two elements present in this the mass composition is always constant fixed, that is 3:8. Not only for carbon dioxide, for any chemical, the mass composition of respective elements in that particular chemical is always same, that is constant. That is the exact meaning of this law of definite or constant proportions. And here also some of you may get one doubt, sir, simply have taken carbon as 12, oxygen as 16. Carbon has another isotope C14. Oxygen has another isotope, say for O17. Then in such case, and means if carbon has more than one type of isotope, then you are not supposed to write like this. So if the isotopes are involved, then you cannot apply this law as it is. That is the limitation of this law of definite proportions. It is correct only, but it has that limitation. Okay. Okay, students. Now I am going to third law, that is number 3. Law of multiple proportions. Write down, students. Law of multiple proportions, given by the scientist, proposed by the scientist Dalton. According to this law of multiple proportions, write down the statement, students. I will repeat. If two elements combine to form more than one compound, if two elements combine to form more than one compound, then for the fixed mass of one element, write down, students, fixed mass of one element, the masses of other element combined, will be in the simple ratio. The masses of other element combined will be in the simple ratio. That is the statement given by the scientist Dalton. And according to the law of multiple proportions, if two elements combine to form more than one compound, then for the fixed mass of one element, the masses of other element combined will be in the simple ratio. I will explain this with some examples. Let me explain with one example. Two elements, I am taking carbon and oxygen. We know carbon and oxygen can form two types of oxides. I am writing here, students, carbon monoxide and as well as carbon dioxide. Two elements combine together to form more than one compound. Okay. Now let me write the details, mass decomposition of these two compounds. Here carbon monoxide, one carbon, one oxygen. So you can write the data. Write down, students. 12 grams of carbon combines with 16 grams of oxygen. It is constant for carbon monoxide as per the previous law, that is law of definite proportions. This we are not supposed to change. Okay, fix. And coming to carbon dioxide, same. 12 grams of carbon you can simply write combines with 32 grams of oxygen. That is also fixed. Okay. Now coming back to this law, if two elements combine to form more than one compound, concentrate, then for the fixed mass of one element, here that is carbon, for the fixed mass of one element, the masses of other element here is oxygen, 16 grams and 32 grams. The masses of other elements combined will be in the simple ratio. Here the ratio of oxygen combined in these two compounds with carbon is 16:32, that is 1:2 will be in the simple ratio. Okay, students, I will go for another two examples. Here I am giving the next example. N2O, N2O3, N2O4. I am writing the masses of these elements in this compound. 2 nitrogen atom, 2 into 14, you can simply write 28 grams of nitrogen combines with 16 grams of oxygen. Second one, same, 2 into 14, 28 grams of nitrogen combines with 3 into 16, 48 grams of oxygen. Next, third compound is also 28 grams of nitrogen combines with 4 into 16, 64 grams of oxygen. If two elements combine to form more than one compound, here elements are nitrogen and oxygen, combine to form three types of oxides, say for example here. For the fixed mass of one element, 28 grams of nitrogen. The masses of other elements, 16 in the first compound, 48 in the second compound, 64 in the third compound. Combined will be in the simple ratio. Now I am going to calculate ratio. 3 16s 48. So this is. Please write down, students. Now the next law, law of reciprocal proportions. Law of reciprocal proportions given by the scientist Richard. You can also write, instead of reciprocal, you can also write equivalent proportions. Now before going to this law, both law of definite proportions and law of multiple proportions have a common limitation. If different isotopes of elements are involved, those two laws, that is law of definite proportions and multiple proportions, cannot be applied directly. So, those two laws have limitation, the same limitation, that is those two laws will not be applicable if different isotopes of elements are involved while forming those respective compounds. Okay. Now, we will go for law of reciprocal proportions. Here, three elements are going to involve here. In the previous two laws, only two elements are involved, but here involvement of three elements. Anyway, I will write down the law, and you please better to write down. This law is very important. Write down along with me. If two elements, I am writing, if two elements combine, write down students, combine separately with a third element, the mass ratio of, write down students, first two elements combined with a fixed mass of third element, will be, write down students, will be equal to or in the simple ratio to the mass ratio of, write down students, mass ratio of first two elements, in a compound formed by their direct combination. Law is lengthy. Write down students, please write down, I will repeat here. If two elements combine separately with a third element, the mass ratio of first two elements combined with a fixed mass of third element will be equal to or in the simple ratio to the mass ratio of first two elements in a compound formed by their direct combination. This is the statement of this law, but I will explain to you how this is going to be applied. That will be very easy. Okay. Hydrogen, sodium, chlorine. Hydrogen, sodium, chlorine. Observe here. These two combined can form sodium hydride. These two will combine, can form HCl. Here you are going to take this as first element. Note down, students. You please take it as second element, and you please take this hydrogen as third element. Now I am going to explain the statement. It's very simple. With the example we can understand very easily. Okay. I am repeating the last statement again. If two elements combined separately with the third element, NaH and HCl, the mass ratio of two elements, I am writing here, mass of two elements, mass of sodium divided by mass of chlorine. The mass ratio of first two elements that combined with fixed mass of third element, fixed mass of third element. See here, sodium is also combining with hydrogen 1 gram. Here chlorine also combining only with 1 gram of hydrogen. From the formula you can say. So mass ratio of first two elements, mass of sodium divided by mass of chlorine. For the fixed mass of third element, 1 gram of hydrogen, 1 gram of hydrogen here. So with 1 gram of hydrogen, what is the weight of sodium combining here? What is the atomic mass of sodium? 23. By here in this compound with 1 gram of hydrogen, 35.5 grams of chlorine is combining, because atomic mass of chlorine is 35.5. Same mass I am writing here, students. The first phase of statement, first two elements, mass ratio of first two elements combined with fixed mass of hydrogen, that is with here with 1 gram of hydrogen, will be equal to R in the simple ratio to the, here one more ratio we have to take, the mass ratio of first two elements again, mass ratio of first two elements again, first two elements again, in a compound formed by the direct combination. Here these two on direct combination you will get sodium chloride. So within the sodium chloride, what is the mass ratio of first two elements? Here nothing but sodium and chlorine. Same, 23 grams of sodium combines with 35.5 grams of chlorine. So here I am writing the same. So those two mass ratios will be equal to each other. Here it is equal. Or in some case, the ratio of these two ratios will be simple ratio. Ratio of these two ratios will be a simple ratio. That I will explain by taking with another example, students. Please write it down. So let me explain this law with one more example. Hydrogen, sulfur, oxygen. Sulfur is first two element, say, second element is oxygen, and the third element here is hydrogen. These two will combine to form a compound H2S. These two will combine to form another compound H2O. And at the same time, these two also can form another compound directly from first and two elements, sulfur dioxide, say for example, sulfur dioxide. Okay. Here I am writing in detail. 2 grams of hydrogen combines with atomic mass of sulfur, 32 grams of sulfur. Write down, students. Here in H2O also, 2 grams of hydrogen combines with 16 grams of oxygen. I am repeating the last statement here. If two elements combined separately with the third element to form compounds, the mass ratio of those two elements, that is first and second elements, which combined with the fixed mass of third element, here is 2 grams. Now I am writing mass ratio of sulfur and oxygen. Mass of sulfur divided by mass of oxygen is equal to mass of sulfur with 2 grams of hydrogen 32, mass of oxygen with the same 2 grams of hydrogen, that is 16. Here it is 2 by 1. And here again, in this compound it is formed directly from again first and second elements. Now mass ratio of sulfur and oxygen in this compound formed by the direct combination, I am writing here mass of sulfur by mass of oxygen in sulfur dioxide. Sulfur again same 32 grams atomic mass. Here 2 oxygens are there, 2 into 16, 32 grams. This is 1. Here the ratio is not same, but ratio of these two ratios, that is 2, this is 1. Again the ratio of these two ratios, it becomes 2:1. That's what exactly I have explained you in the form of statement of law of reciprocal proportions. I will repeat once again. If two elements combine separately with the third element, the mass ratio of first two elements that combined with fixed mass of third element will be equal to, or in the simple ratio will be equal to, or in the simple ratio to the mass ratio of first and second elements in a compound formed by their direct combination. So here first ratio I got it as 2:1, second ratio 1, 1:1. That's ratio of two ratios is 2:1. Again a simple ratio, that is detailed explanation of this law of reciprocal proportions. Students, the next law is Avogadro's law. Again, this is also applicable to gases. According to this Avogadro, if you take equal volumes of different gases but at the same temperature and pressure, no doubt those two samples will possess the same number of moles or molecules in the respective samples. It means to apply this Avogadro law for different gases, those gases should be present at constant temperature and pressure, and you have to take equal volumes. Then the number of moles or molecules present in those gas samples are same. Once again I will repeat the statement. It is better to write down, students, so please write down. If for different gases present at same temperature and pressure, then equal volumes of those different gases will possess equal number of moles or molecules. It means if volume temperature and pressure are same for two different gases, that is for gas 1 and gas 2 say, then the number of molecules in gas 1 and gas 2 is also same. If it contains 10 molecules, that also should possess 10 molecules. If it contains 1 mole, that also should possess 1 mole. So, equal volumes of different gases measured under similar conditions of temperature and pressure will contain the same number of moles or molecules. Students, let me go through the next law, that is Gay-Lussac's law. Gay-Lussac's law of combining volumes. Gay-Lussac's law of combining volumes. The law itself named after the scientist Gay-Lussac. This law is also applicable to the gas mixtures or the chemical reactions which involve at least two gaseous components, either reactants or products. That chemical reaction should possess at least two gaseous components. So, what exactly this law is? According to this law, at constant temperature and pressure, I am writing, please write it down. At constant temperature and pressure, write down students, at constant temperature and pressure, the gaseous reactants reacted and the gaseous products obtained, write down students, and gaseous products obtained in a chemical reaction, write down students, important it is, in a chemical reaction where a simple ratio, that is the statement of law of combining volumes. At constant temperature and pressure, the gaseous reactants reacted and the gaseous products obtained in a chemical reaction bear a simple ratio. If you write down this law, then I will go for the detailed explanation of this law. Okay, students, let me go to the detailed explanation of Gay-Lussac's law of combining volumes. How in practice we are going to apply that? It's a very, very important concept, and we are going to use this in many times, several times in the coming chapter, calculations involved in chemical equations and states of matter chapter and chemical kinetics and different chapters. We are going to use this particular Gay-Lussac's law of combining volumes. Let me explain that. Say for example, nitrogen combines with hydrogen to form ammonia. All the three gases I have taken. Of course, at least two gases will be there, no problem. But here I have taken all the components as gases. Okay, observe here. So you can simply say 1 mole, right? 3 moles, 2 moles. I am going to incorporate Avogadro law also here. Say for example, if you take at STP, it tell me what we can write here according to GMV concept. Yes, you can write, students, 22.4 liters here, 3 into 22.4 liters here, 2 into 22.4 liters here. Okay, please fix this. I am writing here, student, first one, mole ratio of reaction. What is the mole ratio of reaction? 1:3:2. 1:3:2. Okay, leave it. Now, at STP, we know GMV concept here. Second one, volume ratio I am writing, students. Please tell me the volume ratio. Same, I think. Yes, 1:3:2. Suppose you had some other condition. So simply you can write here reactions which involving gases. The moles ratio is exactly equal to the volume ratio. The moles ratio is exactly equal to the volume ratio. So simply you can also write like this, students. 1 liter can combine with 3 liter. No doubt it will form 2 liters only. Or 1 ml will always combine only with 3 ml of hydrogen. No doubt you will get only 2 ml of ammonia, because for gas phase reactions or mixtures, I have already told you, the moles ratio is exactly equal to volumes ratio. So that is my conclusion based on this Gay-Lussac's law of combining volumes. Moles ratio is exactly equal to volumes ratio. So I am writing here mole ratio is equal to volume ratio of components, that is only for gaseous components. Don't forget, if you want to apply Gay-Lussac's law, reaction should possess at least 2 gases. Don't forget about that. Volumes ratio is also equal to pressure ratio. Of those particular components. This pressure ratio application we will get in another physical chemistry chapter, that is states of matter. As of now, in this chapter, we are going to apply this particular moles ratio is equal to volumes ratio. After completion of this chapter, if you go for next one, the same sequence that also obey that pressure ratio, provided the reaction carried out at constant temperature. So, dear students, I am going to conclude this session by this Gay-Lussac's law of combining volumes, and in the next session I will go for the application part of laws of chemical combination by taking 4 or 5 numericals. Okay, students, thank you.